the world, and thank you so much for joining my channel today, as we are going to go straight in to another Universal Studios reaction video, I should say. So this one has come in as a recommendation from Alex Tannehill. So big thank you for suggesting this one to me. And yes, it is going to be all about the brand new plans of Universal in Bedfordshire. And of course, I have the t-shirt as well to prove. I have been to Florida last year and went in March, and I also worked at Walt Disney World as a cast member as well. So before we go into it, please do subscribe down below. Give me a little shout, a little holler if you've subscribed on my comment box, and let's get into it. All right.
Sure. Great Britain actually finally be happening. That's right, guys, what's happening? Joe here from Theme Park Insanity, and yes, last night it looks like we finally got the news we've all been waiting for. Universal Studios Great Britain looks like it could potentially actually finally be happening. But before we do get into this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash the like button at the end of the video if you do enjoy it. But without further ado, let's get into the latest news regarding Universal Studios Great Britain potentially opening and going ahead. Now, around about a year ago, Universal Destinations and Experiences revealed that they had purchased over 400 acres of land down in Bedford with the sole purpose of creating a theme park resort here in the UK. Now, following this, public consultations took place in April of 2024, where guests were invited to kind of attend, find out more about exactly what they were planning for the land, the way it was set to be used, and also it gave local residents a chance to actually ask the executives directly what they were planning to do and raise their concerns. Well, of course, following this, everything kind of went dark and not much has kind of been known about whether or not this project will still proceed, what's actually happening with it. And last night, we finally got the first glimmer of hope that Universal Studios Great Britain could in fact finally be happening here in the UK. Now, the news itself officially broke last night via a news outlet called Bloomberg. And in the article itself, the article talked all about these projects that have basically been delayed and were set to be given the green light by the government in the coming months. Now, there were numerous projects involved with that. One of them was a road tunnel leading under the Thames. But of course, Universal Studios Great Britain received a mention as well. And this is the first kind of glimmer of hope that we've actually had in a very, very long time, that this project that we really direly need to happen here in the UK might actually go ahead. Now, if that does happen and it does get built as planned and we do get that official announcement by Universal Studios in the coming months, what could that mean for the UK industry as it stands, and how will it transform things here for UK theme park fans?
Like, to be fair, so Leavesden Studios, if those who are watching this video don't know, that is where the Harry Potter films were made, and there's, I don't know, I think there's a lot of speculation of what is going to happen inside the brand new park that's going to be created, because essentially they could put the Hogwarts Castle and make a Forbidden Journey ride in perhaps that land like they have in pretty much every other Universal Studios I can think of, except for like Japan do, but Singapore don't have, in the new park Singapore, they don't have the Hogwarts, I believe. I could be wrong, I gotta remember. So will they have that? Because of course Leavesden Studios, Warner Brothers Studios do have the film tour, you know, with Hogsmeade and everything else, and Privet Drive and the train, like the platform 9 3/4. So will they make a replica, or will they do something totally different? You know, you've got to think of the IPs perhaps in which Universal have got perhaps in the UK. Is that how they're going to do it? You know, are they going to create a land with films that are more relatable to the British audience perhaps? These are all like the things which I'm quite interested to find out for the future, how they're gonna plan what lands they're gonna create, and not the Imagineers, because the Imagineers is like the Disney, but how their creative team are gonna actually come up with these new IPs for the different lands in Bedfordshire. That is something I am very interested to find out for sure. Okay, let's go back into it.
Well, when it comes to rides and attractions, it's fair to say that the UK is well behind the likes of Europe and indeed the US. And if Universal Studios does actually happen, as it is now looking like it will bring a dynamic shift to the UK theme park industry as we know it. Now, this means that existing UK parks and attractions are really going to have to up their game to keep those customers visiting and keep footfall up, because Universal Studios is a completely different level of immersion to the rest of what we currently have on offer here in UK. Now, of course, Hyperia last year was a giant step in the right direction in terms of the rides and attractions we need here in the UK. And of course, Alton Towers, with everything that they bring, they're working to...
Yeah, like, to be fair, Thorpe Park now is known for the Hyperia ride. It's a mega roller coaster. Now, for some people who aren't huge roller coaster fanatics and they just want more themed lands, a lot more like for selfies, for Instagram, for social media, all of that, I think these particular lands is what we need in the UK, just to be fully immersed. We don't just want a ride with a name on it and an IP for it. We want a proper themed experience. That is something we do need in the UK. Yeah, definitely.
Kind of bring a next level of immersion to the attractions that they're creating. But other than that, UK theme parks and attractions and indeed amusement parks are very, very low bar compared to the rest of the world. So, with Universal Studios potentially set to happen, it does mean that the existing parks and attractions we have here in the UK are really going to have to kind of step it up to compete with them when they do open up, as they're kind of stating for 2030. But as well as that, it also means that other parks and attractions here in the UK potentially will receive an increased footfall, of course, as and when people from around the world do visit too. So there's two different kind of angles it's going to bring as and when this does happen.
I do think competition is going to be fierce. I think because Universal will be able to put their prices up to maybe the same as America, sort of pricing. Alton Towers, Thorpe Park, other well-known British theme parks will perhaps have a cheaper annual pass that they can offer people, and for locals, just to have a true sort of idea of how their business can run going forward with such a massive park being made, and obviously making sure they make enough profit and their budgets and everything else. I think they're going to have to reduce the cost. But of course, reducing the cost for park entry might mean that there might be less rides, there might be less staff. It'll have a massive knock-on effect. So it's going to be interesting how they manage Universal obviously coming to the UK, because it's going to take, yes, a lot of footfall into the UK, a lot of tourism's going to come in, but they're all going to come in and go to particular areas perhaps more than the other parks. I think a lot of the parks that will fall will be those that are small family run. Small parks, for instance, like in West Wales, we have Oakwood. That only usually opens certain times, like holidays and around Christmas and Halloween, etc. But I do think Thorpe Park will be fine. The resorts that are near and near that railway link will be okay in general, and near the airports Heathrow and Gatwick will be fine. But I think there will be a knock-on effect for the smaller companies that run small little theme parks as well. So yeah,
I think it's very, very exciting, and indeed what are we expecting from Universal Studios Great Britain? Let's talk more about that. When you look at other Universal Studios parks around the world, they always aim for the same high standards, and they always feature well-loved IPs such as Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, Transformers and so much more, depending on the location that you're actually in. Now, of course, there are a few there, of course, that always happen within certain Universal parks. Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, of course, being pretty consistent IPs you will see, and also Harry Potter as well, very well loved. But in terms of that, of course, this year we'll see Universal Studios open up Epic Universe in Orlando, which brings a completely new spin to their existing theme park experience, creating a much more immersive experience as you enter through into Celestial Park and branch off into the various different worlds. Now, with that being the case, and of course with Universal aiming to that bar there, it's safe to say that Universal Studios Great Britain will more than likely set to hit a completely different bar in terms of that too, meaning that we'll probably experience a very similar experience to the likes of Epic Universe if this project proceeds. Now, in terms of the finer details of that, we have nothing at present. There's no official concept art kicking around. There's no official details kicking around about what we can expect. All we know, of course, will be the layout or the planned layout for the park and resort, and indeed the area of the UK that it will be located within. So when they do make their announcement over the coming months and they announce whether or not this will proceed, which of course, as I said, we expect to do so, we expect more details about that to of course surface, and more information about what they're planning to do actually comes to light as well. There we have it, Universal Studios Great Britain finally looking like it's actually going to proceed, and honestly I could not be more excited. It's something that we really desperately need. This needs to happen to shift everything forwards in the right direction, and Universal Studios are certainly the ones to do it. Very positive times for the UK industry. As I said, it's not 100% confirmed right now, but with that recent news that it is one of the projects that will be signed off, or one of the planning applications that is set to be signed off in the months ahead, it's safe to say that things are really about to change and good times are well and truly on their way. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. What are you expecting from Universal Studios Great Britain? Do you think this will actually proceed as planned and as it is being advertised at this point in that news article? And indeed, what are you expecting from the park? Do let me know in the comments below, guys. But for now, if you have enjoyed the video, hit subscribe, turn on notifications and smash that like button to let me know. But without further ado, my name's Joe, this is Theme Park Insanity, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care, bye bye.
Alright, so there we are. So it's happening. It's fair to say it's happening, and I do believe that if we're looking at the brand new Epic Universe Park itself in Florida, I think it's fair to say that we could have the same technology and some of the new sort of themed worlds that perhaps they have, you know, like we might have How to Train Your Dragon. I'd love to see Mario Kart come to the UK, for instance, because it's a family land. You know, if you're not a huge roller coaster fan, they've got like a roller coaster, but it's more like family friendly. I think we definitely need a more family friendly, immersive park. One of the lands, like a Universal Singapore, they've got the most amazing Jurassic World ride, which I might even do another reaction video in the future about that particular Singapore park. But yeah, I gotta say I am looking forward to what their plans are going to be. And the development is going to massively support financially that particular area. There's going to be a lot more jobs created. They're bound to probably build more homes in that particular area as well for staff, and just build necessarily so that, you know, people can do more commuting in and out of like Milton Keynes and use the Thames link to go into London. And it's going to be a massive development, and I think it's actually economically going to help the UK. But maybe in the world of not so much helping the small businesses, it's going to help a very large company become successful in the UK. And that's the only, like, the positive with the negative I have is that. But it could change, you know, it might sway. It might be that people want to spend a week or maybe like a few days in the UK park and then going off and explore a different part of England that perhaps people don't come to the UK to usually go and see. So they'll see a real sort of England rather than your typical London and your sort of tourism places. It might actually open up more horizons for certain small businesses. I don't know. It's just kind of all up in the air. But I think it's going to happen. I do think that this is definitely full steam ahead. There is another video, I believe, talking about the fact that one of the Disneyland Paris employees, I've got to find out exactly what part of the organisation he is and what his role is, but he has just recently come out from that particular role and is now gone into the UK Universal project. So there's more sort of confirmation that this project is going to go ahead, and they've invested so much money already into this land. I think to back away from it now, it would just be too cost effective. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Fingers crossed and everything else. We'll have a brand new theme park in a couple of years' time. Woohoo!